All right. So Elon got a directive from President Trump that was not necessarily specific. Here is what Donald Trump asked of Elon this weekend. He said, Elon's doing a great job, but I would like to see him get more aggressive. Remember, we have a country to save, but ultimately to make greater than ever before, MAGA. And Elon heard that loud and clear and said, will do, Mr. President. And so the next move that Elon made was to say that everyone in the federal government was going to get an email. He said, consistent with President Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation.
And people were losing their
Oh my
minds
God.
because of the ebbs and flows, Mock. I mean, some weeks you just don't
Right.
do anything, right? And then other weeks you're very busy. This is what people were saying. And I can't believe he's asking for this. Why would he ask for this? Some sort of a progress report.
Accountability from people that we're
What?
paying salaries for? How
What?
dare he?
How many jobs have you actually had to write down? Because I've had to do this in many jobs that I've had in the past, especially as a contractor, because I did contract work for years and I had to write, this is what I did, every hour of every day. I had to do this in a lot of jobs that I had. And this, I'm like, again, with it being a foreign concept for federal employees. Okay. All right.
Well, Senator Tina Smith was outraged and she used big, mean words to talk about it on Twitter. So she retweeted this tweet of Elon Musk's and she said, this is the ultimate dick boss move from Musk, except he isn't even the boss. He's just a dick.
He's your boss now, lady.
And he wrote back, what'd you get done last week?
Oh my God, it's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. Yeah, what did you get done, Tina? What did you get done? We pay you a lot of money, Tina.
And then he went on to explain his rationale a little bit further and said the following. He said, the reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they're not checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud.
Yeah.
So, and he also made clear, like over and over in a lot of different tweets, he's not even looking for anything super elaborate or detailed. He literally just wanted people to respond, hey, here's 5 bullet points. Much more. Right. And so I thought this was great. However, there was not the coordination that there probably needed to be with all the cabinet members, because one by one, they started saying to their teams, to their departments, don't answer this email. And so we saw, I think the first one came from the State Department, where they basically, top leadership at the State Department has instructed all employees to ignore the productivity inquiry, saying we evaluate our own people. The same thing happened at Treasury. They also received a similar email. And then even Kash Patel, directly from him, he sent out an email saying FBI personnel may have received this email. The FBI is in charge of all of our review processes and will conduct reviews in accordance with our own procedures. When and if further information is required, we'll coordinate the responses. For now, pause any responses. So didn't love that it wasn't more
coordinated,
thoughtful and coordinated, because that just ended up kind of making Elon look bad. But I don't think it was a bad request.
No, I don't think it made him look bad. The only thing that was bad is that it wasn't coordinated, but like the request itself, I think is fine.
It totally is fine.
Right. But it does kind of bother me that he probably should have talked to all these people and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then they would have been, because I don't like this, that, I don't like this, that it's not coordinated. But at the same time, but I think people are saying on the left that this was a completely absurd request, which it isn't.
It's not.
It isn't.
It's not at all.
Have you ever worked in the private sector? Like, it's like, it's not a weird request.
No, what did you do? It's not at all.
What did you get done this week?
Exciting news in the sponsor front. And that is that we have a new one, guys, and it is wine. Okay.
It's wine.
It's wine.
Mine's in the other room.
Exciting. So here's just one bottle of wine that comes from there we go.
You got it.
Republican Red. This is 4547 special edition Republican Red. This company, it's owned by a guy by the name of Paul Johnson. He's a second generation wine grape grower, and they make their wine right here in America, obviously in California. They say that it's bottled in California by conservatives for conservatives.
I love it.
It's so great. Yep. And so my favorite thing is when we have sponsors who we know are completely ideologically on the same page as we are,
yep.
and they have great products, and they offer our audiences discounts.
It's wine, you guys. It's wine.
It's wine. And I tried the Cabernet yesterday, and I liked it a lot. They do recommend that once you open the bottle, you let it breathe. You pour a glass, you let it breathe for like a half an hour. Yeah. And I thought that was really good advice, but it's great. I haven't tried the Chardonnay yet. I haven't tried the Champagne.
That's what I want to try.
Wine yet.
It's like Prosecco, which that's my jam.
And then this, I believe, is a Pinot Noir. And so I'm super excited to try that too. I love their whole concept of wanting people to put this wine out at parties to start conversations. And so you should be loud and proud about the so-called elephant in the room, right? Which is, I love how they talk about that. They want people to make connections through wine and not have conflict through whining. See what they did there?
I see what they did there. I do.
I freaking love that, you guys.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So they've got lots of choices, and it's a great gift idea as well. They've got like this starter kit, if you will, of their 4 different kinds of wine. You can use code CHICKS at checkout. You will get $5 off and free shipping on 4+ bottles at republicanred.com. Again, it's republicanred.com. So excited to have them on board.
We are so,
oh my gosh,
wine, you guys,
so great. So use chicks at republicanred.com. According to Chris Christie, this was entirely inappropriate because people do different things on different weeks. This was his rationale. You guys, listen, this is so freaking stupid.
Let's look at it a few ways, Martha. First, from a legal perspective, you have a situation where it is a complete overstep for him to be asking people, what did you do in the last week? And then use that as a basis to evaluate whether someone should be retained or fired. As with everybody's employment, things vary from week to week. And I think that if that went to court with an employee who was fired, if Mr. Musk and his minions didn't find what they did in the last week acceptable, there would be very little, if any, legal basis for them to be able to prevail, meaning the government. But secondly, as a former governor, too, from a management perspective, you can see what a clown car this is right now.
Okay, so maybe it is a little bit of I'll give him that, because there was no coordination.
Right, because everybody was like, blame him or don't do this.
but you can tell just by the disdain in his voice when he says his minions, he's just pissed. What a disappointment Chris Christie has become.
Right.
Huge disappointment. Right. There was a time where I liked him, and he is. He is insufferable now. He just really is. And he's blinded by all of his hate for Trump. And anything that Trump does, anybody who he works with, he's going to hate it too. And he's going to get on the talk shows and he's going to poo-poo it all. And that's not okay.
I know. Well, and the worst, the whole thing about this too, is that he's making an argument that from a legal standpoint, Elon couldn't use what those people were responding with in the email as a measure of their performance enough to fire them. But Elon never suggested that he wanted to. All he said was basically, show me that you read the email, say something back. Otherwise, we will consider you resigned. We're not firing you if you write back.
Right.
Tell us what you did. You know what I mean? Like, he just took that to a place that it wasn't ever intended to go.
He wants to find the warm bodies. That's what Elon wanted to do. He wanted to literally find, which is really sad. That's a sad commentary on our federal government and the workers that we have in it right now, that some of these people aren't even checking their freaking emails.
Right.
What? Okay. And somehow we're not supposed to be asking, like, just answer an email and then we'll let you keep your job.
This is a pretty low bar, you guys.
Like the lowest bar. It's like underground. It's so low. I can't. But somehow we're supposed to be like, yeah, that's that's great. Just ask him to answer an email. We'll continue to pay these people. It's unreal. It's just wow.
Yeah, which is why it was so funny that Trump posted this. So he posted this meme that says, "Here's what I got done last week. Cried about Trump, cried about Elon, made it into the office for once, read some emails, cried about Trump and Elon some more."
It's true. It's absolutely true. I have a friend that lives near me. He's a rancher that lives down the street, but he also works for the federal government. And he has to go into the office now. Not complaining about it. I mean, he's not complaining, but there was, there were years during Biden where he didn't have to. Since COVID, his whole department, they never had to go into the office. And now everybody has to go into the office.
Wow.
And so they're back to driving and doing the commute and stuff like that, which it has definitely changed people's lifestyles, but it is what it is. How long did we do that, you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, this is the thing.